Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Website Wednesday. So, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned artificial intelligence to you, and I mentioned ChatGPT. And I don't know if any of you have gone ahead and had a chance to have a look at it yet, but lots of you asked for me to go ahead and just do a session to just cover off some of the basics around ChatGPT. So, if you're new to Website Wednesday, the way that these run is I'm just going to do a quick 10-15 minute session to give you some information around your website, your launching, your marketing, or whatever it might be. And so today we're going to talk about ChatGPT. And if you haven't signed up for it yet, or you haven't been able to sign up for it yet, it's a good idea to just grab yourself an account. And so I'll put the link in the chat afterwards. It's free for you to use. And I was a couple of minutes late because I actually wanted to check that I was able to get onto ChatGPT and see if I could just run a quick demo for you. So what is it? So it is an advanced kind of language model that was developed by a company called OpenAI. And it's a kind of artificial intelligence that actually sounds really, really human-like. And it's trained through a massive amount of data. And what it does is, if you haven't seen it yet, I need to show you in order for you to really understand the power of it. But it can generate really coherent, sensible, human-like content. And it's used for a variety of purposes. But for us as marketers, content creators, course creators, web designers, whatever we might be doing, it can massively reduce the amount of time that we're taking to create content because it can help prompt a whole load of really original ideas. Now, we need to use it with a pinch of salt because I think what I'm concerned about with ChatGPT is that we're going to see this sudden mushrooming of even more content on the internet, which is just not useful. It's just generic, standard AI generated content. And we don't want to be one of those people who is just adding to the noise and just putting out content for the sake of it. So we want to make sure that if we are using it, we are using it for inspiration and for efficiency rather than to actually have it create all of our content, because it is just a robot at the end of the day. So I can see people joining. So just I would love to know in the chat if you are already using ChatGPT or any other form of artificial intelligence. It would just be really good to know if you've created an account, if you had a look. Just go ahead and mention and just say yes if you have tried out AI or ChatGPT specifically, and just say no if this is a totally new concept to you. Jackie, I can see you've joined live. Rosemary, good to see you too. If you're joining on the replay, just post #replay. So just say yes or no at this point, so that I have an idea of where your kind of knowledge level lies in terms of artificial intelligence. So Jackie says you're about to try. Catherine says yes. Rosemary says yes. Someone who says is just come up as Facebook user, you says no and hi to you. All right, so a real mix. Some of you have tried it, some of you haven't. So what it enables us to do really is create outlines or ideas. So someone in the Funnel Experience group last week posted an idea for a title for her lead magnet. So that's her freebie that she wants people to download when they arrive on her website. And she asked for feedback on it. So instead of giving feedback on it, I actually put it into ChatGPT and said, please, can you generate a few ideas for a webinar or a lead magnet around this topic? And it did, and it generated a whole load. And some of them were things that I wouldn't have thought of. And so it can be really smart. It can generate blog outlines for you. It can generate video scripts. It can generate product descriptions. It can generate email sequences. It's super, super smart. However, it does come with something of a caveat, because it can write your entire homepage if you want it to. But you need to remember that even though it's really, really advanced, it still needs human editing and refinement. And honestly, like I said before, with this burgeoning of content that we're going to see, this explosion of content that we're going to see coming online now because of how easy it makes it for us to generate content, I think now quality, good human generated content is going to become even more valuable. So please be mindful, if you are using it, use it as a tool, use it for inspiration, but don't get it to write your entire blog posts. Don't get it to write all of your email sequences, because you're going to turn out sounding like a robot. However, it is really smart because you can ask it to take on a particular tone of voice. You can ask it to try and replicate someone else's characteristics. You can ask it to do things. And so where people are saying, oh, is it actually going to replace copywriters? No, I don't think it's ever going to replace copywriters. I mean, this is moving really fast. I mean, literally week by week, we're seeing new advancements. ChatGPT came into existence in November last year. That's 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe at a stretch. And already well, the last time I looked, which is about a month ago, it had 1 million signups in just 5 days. So people are really, really cottoning onto it, and it is moving at a super fast pace. And what I'm saying today is probably going to be obsolete in 2 weeks' time. However, I do think that when we get to a point where it can replace human beings, is still a long way off. So, you need to be speaking and writing in your own brand tone. And ChatGPT it will do its best to try and replicate that for you, but it's never going to quite sound like you. And also there's a few copyright implications, which I'm not entirely clear around. It seems to be a little bit of a gray area, a little bit fuzzy around the edges. But generally, anyone who puts something online, the copyright is owned by the creator. So if you are putting together content or posting and publishing content that's been created by ChatGPT, who owns the copyright to that? Because if it's been generated by ChatGPT, is it their copyright or is it yours? So we just need to be a little bit mindful of the limitations of it and understand how we can best use it. So with that being said and done, let me just dive in a little bit and show you what it can do. If you're not familiar with the interface yet, this is going to give you an idea of how you can use it. So this is when you sign in, this is the screen that you are going to see. And it gives you some examples of things that you can ask it. And it's literally like asking a chatbot a question. So for example, let me think of something that I could ask it. So I could say something along the lines of, I'm doing a talk about ChatGPT today. Please outline the main points for the talk. And then I just hit return and it will generate content. Now, at the moment, there's huge demand on their servers. And so it's struggling to keep up with capacity. And so there will be times when you actually can't register on it. You can't register an account and you can't even get online. And what I tend to find is that after midday, which at the moment we're in GMT, it's just gone midday, it tends to become a lot slower. So this is what I thought might happen. I was quite surprised when I was able to open up the chat. So sometimes if you just hit refresh, it will come back. Please outline a talk about ways you can use ChatGPT on your website. And let's see if it generates anything. And here we go. And it's actually quite captivating to watch it at work because it will literally just run so fast through a whole load of ideas. So it's actually outlining the talk for me. So it's telling me, okay, I could do an introduction with a brief overview, an explanation of, it's going too fast for me, I can't even see it, of how it can be a valuable tool for your website, how you can integrate it into your website, and use cases for it. So you could be using it for customer service and support because you can be automating chatbots with it. You can be using it to create content and generate things like product descriptions, blog posts, those kind of things. You could be using it for lead generation, conversion optimization, and like it says here, to have chatbots, or you could be using it for personalization and engagement. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but it's also giving us some best practices for GPT, and it's offering me the opportunity to then go ahead and recap in a conclusion. So you can see instantly how this can start to really generate some smart options for you to get things up and running fast. Then I can also say, by the way, it's a robot, so I don't need to use my manners, but they don't cost anything. So please write an email to promote this talk you've just outlined. and let's see if it will actually write the email for me. So it gives me a subject and it literally writes out the email for me. And we can ask it to change its tone of voice as well. So I can't do anything whilst it's actually generating, but I could say, thank you, please can you make this email a little more humorous? And let's see what it comes up with. I mean, it's really, hopefully you're seeing that this is really fairly remarkable that it can do this for you. And when I first tried it out, it literally blew my mind. And so now, because I've asked it to add some more humor to it, it's going to just make it a little bit, it's just going to add some character into it. And it just adds a little bit of quirkiness into it as well. So usually when you run these kind of requests or these chats with ChatGPT, there's no way for you to actually download them. So you would need to go ahead and grab these. And when it was about a month ago, it became really glitchy and it was not showing it wasn't storing any of your previous chats. And so if you were generating content from it, you wanted to make sure that you grabbed it and put it over into a Google Doc. And it's still probably a good idea to do that. So that's a really quick overview. So let me just come back and see. I'd love to know in the chat if this is kind of new to you. Did you know what it could do? Did you know that it could do this kind of stuff? And is this the kind of content that you have been asking it to generate for you, or are you using it for something else? I'd love to know. Someone says, I've launched my website. However, the WordPress template page with all the Latin comes up first. How do I change that? Oh, that's a question. How long is a piece of string? It depends. I mean, it sounds as though you haven't changed the Latin placeholder text. I can't see who this is. And it's probably a question, if you ask it in the WordPress Happy community after this and just be more specific about what you're using and how you're generating it, then I can answer. For this, for the time being, if you've got questions about ChatGPT or AI, I'd love to just stay on topic for this particular session. So let's have a look. So, okay, someone says they've been using it to write blog posts, which is amazing. Just be cautious if you're writing it, if you're asking it to write your entire blog posts. Hopefully you're going through it, and you're correcting it, and you're putting in your own tone of voice and just refining it so it doesn't sound too robotic. But that's great that you're already using it. So Rosemary said, this is so cool. I'm giving it some attention. The email was cool. Hope says, yes, definitely will be using this, Vicky. All right, fabulous. Okay. So that's what I just wanted to do today, was to just give you a little bit of an insight. There's so many prompts you can use. There's now loads of browser extensions that you can add and integrate with ChatGPT that's going to enable you to do really cool stuff. You can create images with it. There's all sorts of things you can do. I've literally only scratched the surface. But I wanted to show you, some people will be really repelled by the idea of generating content in this way, and some of you will want to really, really embrace it. It can definitely, I think, if we can use it as a hybrid, so if we can use it to generate ideas and things like the outline, like I just did just now for a talk or for a blog post, it can really, really speed up our process. And it can also highlight things that we may not have thought about and enable us to kind of fill in the gaps and flesh it out. But we want to make sure that we are adding our own twist and our own personality and fleshing it out in our own way, in a way that feels good to us, so we're not just putting out robotic text. Jackie says, I think I will use it to start me off, but be sure to add my own touches. Absolutely. I think, you know, that kind of that blinking cursor moment where we sit and we're looking at a white screen, we're like, okay, what am I going to talk about today? It's a really great to just go into ChatGPT and just throw in some ideas and ask it to start generating some content for us, or some ideas or some outlines, and that then can get our inspiration going. Someone else says, I've used it to help produce content without sounding salesy. Yes, fabulous. Great to see that you're using it, and wonderful for those of you who weren't familiar with it to just give you an introduction as to what it can do for you. And do just let me know in the group how you're using it, and if you're finding it useful, if you're loving it. And if there's any tools that you find that you can integrate with ChatGPT, then also post about those. There are a lot out there. And like I say, things that are, I mean, people are developing tools as we speak to integrate with ChatGPT. And so next week and the week after and the week after that, we're going to just see a plethora of platforms and tools that we can use with it. And it's going to become just so much more powerful all the time. But for the time being, I think it's fairly cool. So glad I've been able to share that with you. And I look forward to hearing some of your own discoveries around AI and ChatGPT. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you on Website Wednesday next week at the same place, same time. Bye for now.